Top of the morning to you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another edition of State of the State. I am Sunday Kolaole. Today, we will be taking a close look at two major issues having to do with the development of the Nigerian state. And of course, they are very critical matters in the discourse of our democracy as a people. Once again, welcome everyone. The first issue we'll be looking at would be the issue of a double emolument benefits for ex-governors in Nigeria. And then we'll also look at the impending strike by labor unions in Nigeria. Two gentlemen will be joining me on the program this morning, and they are people who are also at the forefront of campaigning for better days in Nigeria. Let me quickly welcome a former chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP in Ondo State, Chief Ebenezer Alabi. It's good to see you on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
It's only been a while, you know.
Yeah, it has been.
And also here is a social commentator, a labor unionist, I must also say. One who also believes in good deal for workers and everyone. Comrade Benga Kimo, it's good to have you join me on the program.
It's been a pleasure being invited, but I don't know about the comrade status, but I'll come back on that one later.
Of course, we'll talk about that outside of here. Now, straight to business. I'd like to start with the issue of double emolument for those who said they are serving the people, who have also fed on the people, so to say. Because when you're a governor, it's the taxpayers' money that services you as it also services the state. I'd like to start from you being a staunch politician in the Nigerian space. What do you feel each time you see this kind of an issue? Now, Serap has dragged almost 14 people who are said to be benefiting from salaries and at the same time taking emolument as ex-governors, 14 of them in the Senate and Tinubu administration. How does this speak well or bad about the Nigerian state of economy and malfeasance in public service?
Thank you very much. It's quite unfortunate that we are having this issue in our country. There is no basis for it at all, because the body that is set up to fix the salaries and the emoluments of political office holder is RAMFAC. That is Revenue, Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. In their own recommendation, there was no pension that is accruable to anybody that served. They will fix the basic salary, some allowances. Then when you are leaving after 4 years, you take what they describe as severance allowance. At that point in time, that is what the law covers. Because when they make their recommendation, they will send it to the National Assembly for passage. The state will do same. They can only reduce any amount recommended, but they cannot go above it. So issue of pension does not arise at all. So I don't know where they get that one from. That is one. Two, there is no basis taking two salary from government. The law did not back it at all. When you are having one appointment, for example, as a civil servant, when you pick up an appointment elsewhere, you have to drop the salary you are receiving there and be receiving the salary being paid in the new job you got. So you can't take the two at the same time. So same thing apply to any political office holder. That's how it's supposed to be. It's quite unfortunate.
You're talking about what the law says.
Yes.
Let me take you a bit into the code of conduct for public officers. The fifth schedule, part 1 of the Nigerian Constitution reads in part, a public officer shall not receive or be paid the emoluments of any public office at the same time as he receives or is paid the emoluments of another public office. Let me come to you, Mr. Kimoyo. What is our problem with law and legality? Is it that they are too ambiguous for us to understand, or we just have this penchant for disobedience to rules and regulations as a people? What exactly is the problem?
The problem is simple. Understanding. The law is clear. And law is not made in the moon. It's made here on earth. It's made to regulate the society. Anyone who is anyone knows that if you work for government, you cannot do two jobs. It's age long. I was in secondary school when I knew that. I've been a public servant before, and I knew that as soon as I committed to working for government, I couldn't do private practice. It's sacred. Now, it's not the law that is the problem. The law says in the state that if you are a former governor or a former deputy governor, you're entitled to X, Y, Z. And the mischief, the reason for bringing that out was to ensure that once you finish your 4 or 8 years, you just leave the scene gloriously and retire on a package that wouldn't involve you in the active participation and interrogation of what is going on after you leave the office. It was supposed to be a payoff, go away and retire. You don't have to be tired, but retire humbly. That was what it was designed for. But guess what? Our people are saying the law allows you to pay me a salary, a pension, after I've left office, and yet I can get another government job as a senator or any other board, parastatal, and continue. It's wrong. It's wrong. But you see, they are legally not breaking the law.
They're legally not breaking the law.
No, they're not. But what we need to do is to sensitize those in the states, because every state is different. Those in the state houses of assembly need to review and say, hold on, this thing is not working. You cannot leave office and then tomorrow you pick up another job and you're collecting on the left and collecting on the right. It's not in the spirit.
Just a moment. Section 1, subsection 1 of the Constitution is clear about this, that any other law that stands in variance with the ground norm stands null and void. Just paraphrasing, not taking it as it is there. So if you're talking about the aftermath of House of Assembly in any state coming up to say this or that, and it's not in consonance with the grand norm, are we therefore saying that our grand norm is just ineffective? Isn't this a case of the weak system and some powerful individuals, politicians, so to say directly, who are getting more powerful than the state itself?
No, it's not. It's not an inconsistency. It's not a conflict.
Okay.
The ground norm is the ground norm. And where the federal law and the state laws conflict, then the Constitution says that the federal law
takes supremacy.
But the point is this. I'm from Ondo State. But I'm not a Ondo State national. I'm a Nigerian. So I belong to the whole.
Very well.
Until all of us in the country, especially the politicians, and indeed the National Assembly, and those who want to go there to retire, until they determine to say what is fair, then proper laws will be made and proper laws will be implemented, and all these loopholes that they're capitalizing on, it's unjust. I can't be receiving 2 salaries from the federal government or from federal and state. It's not possible.
I'm still interested. I'm still interested.
It's our people who have to address the implementational flaws and now make sure that they make the law more watertight.
How about obedience to court judgment? I like to have your view on that, Chief Alabi. In 2019, Justice Oluremi Oguntoyinbo in a landmark judgment did hold, that was specifically on the 26th of November, did hold that double emolument for former governors are unacceptable, unconstitutional, and illegal. Now, what happened to that judgment? Now, is that not also telling us what's been happening to many court judgments that are not honored, that are not followed? And how do we get out of this quagmire if there was a court judgment from a competent jurisdiction, so to say?
You said double emolument.
Of course.
But I can collect a wage on the A and I can collect a salary on the B.
You are being hypothetical.
I'm telling you.
You are being hypothetical.
Like
I'm talking about a situation where you're served as a governor and then upon expiration of your tenure, you're taking up another job as senator, still within the space of the Nigerian economy. So you are being hypothetical. I'm being realistic here.
I'm being realistic too.
How do we get out of this quagmire?
I think it is because of the weak institutions we have in Nigeria. That is why we have valid judgment of courts being disobeyed by individuals. Some people are living larger than life, and that is the bane of our problem in this country. in all sincerity, I'm aware about that judgment. The judgment went further that those who have been paid should return the money. But our political leaders have not demonstrated the wherewithal to go after these people to collect the money.
Who will bail the cat?
That is where the issue lies. But in advanced countries where they have very strong institutions, nobody dares that.
Chief Alabi, I'm not always comfortable when I hear of advanced country, when I hear of a sinner climb, when I hear of more civilized areas. Those expressions get me somehow uncomfortable. And you know why? When we, in 1999, we were referring to Nigeria's democracy as nascent. In 2007, 2003, 2007, we're still saying nascent. This is 2023. Are we still nascent? Why are we not growing? As newborn babes, desiring the sincere make of the world, we have yet to be breaking bones.
Well, that is what we are saying. Our leaders travel to these advanced countries. They know how their government is being run. They know what governance means over there. But when they come here, they do opposite of what is happening there. And that is where we are having the problem today. I remembered one day somebody was saying that they were traveling to London and about 5 governors were to travel at the same time. At the airport in Lagos, the whole place was scattered. You see security officers running up and down. But the ironic part of it that when they got to London, it was governor and their back. They were moving. So they saw these things over there. They are playing opposite here. That is the issue. It is quite unfortunate. Like I said, the law did not back them up to even pay that pension in the first instance. Because the political officials that are now, equating themselves to civil servants who will get employment and work for 35 years. That is those people that the law is permitted to be paid pension. And before them, before 2004, we have the Determined Benefit Pension Scheme in the country, where what you collect is based on the length of service and the salary you are earning. But can we see that one here? In 2004, there was this reform now that make pensions contributory, where the employer will contribute and the employee will contribute. Then at the end of the service, then you'll be drawing from that one till the rest of your life. But can we now put that one and equate it with political officers that
will serve just 4 to 8 years?
And 8 years. And like I said, the law as it is today only empower RAMFAC to fix the salaries and emoluments of political office holders. And in what they fix, there is no provision for pension. So if the state government now comes, the State House of Assembly now comes with a law and now start giving bogus pay home, pension to our political office holders, and people cannot rise up and say this is not correct. So our leaders, like I said, they are not implementing the law. They are not following what the law says. And that is what is giving us a problem here. And let me tell you one thing. One of my foreign friends was telling me one day that in this country, it's because God bless us with a lot of things. That is why we care less about our environment. For example, he said, during this time now in their country, it will be so cold that they will need heater. That if the light should goes off, you know how many life they will lose. But unfortunately here we have very good weather. That's why we don't mind fixing our electricity and others. So if the same thing, the same scenario is operating here, by now we'll have fixed it. So that is the problem we have, where it's quite unfortunate. Like I said, we have weak institutions.
Mr. Kimmy, I know you want to make a point. Can you make that in 60 seconds? I need to go on a break. Quickly.
Of course I can. I still maintain that RAMFAC is for office holders. But because we operate a federal system of government, every state is entitled to make its own laws about its own former employees. And that's the loophole. So until we have a dedicated and compassionate approach.
How do we fix that loophole? That will be our next conversation when we return from this break, where we'll be taking a look at how many states are currently allegedly implementing this pension scheme for former governors, and then we'll look at how do we fix the problem. We're not going into the case before the court. We're just talking basically on what it is the issue at stake. We'll go on a break. When we return, we'll check some of these issues further. Please stay with us, everyone. Stand by.
What's he saying?
No. Well, it was a break, but then it wasn't a break here, as we were still having conversations on the subject matter. Still very much with me, Mr. Benga Akimo. You didn't want me to call you comrade.
No, sir.
Don't worry, I'll leave the comrade.
Yeah, leave the comrade. Leave the comrade.
Chief Mr. Alabi, so glad to still have you with me.
Thank you very much.
Now, how many states are currently reportedly implementing pension scheme? We have Akwa Ibom. In fact, Akwa Ibom is one of the flagship of that concept, and so many issues are cropping up therefrom. We also have Abia State, Edo State, Jigawa, Niger, Kebbi, Ogun, Kano, Sokoto, Cross River, Ebonyi, Enugu. We also have Benue, Gombe, Yobe, Taraba, Kaduna, Plateau, Katsina, Rivers, and Delta states. Now, the concern is here, those states have reportedly begun the implementation of that pension scheme for their ex-governors. If care is not taken, it's going to spread like wildfire, and then it will go across the country. At a time when we are concerned with economic downturn, we're concerned with hardship, untold hardship, so to say, on the citizenry. And we're told that, of course, things will get better, let's keep managing. But when all of this fester, what will be the signal you send to the citizenry? I still start with you, Mr. Kimoyo.
Well, I didn't hear Lagos State mentioned in that list, but I believe that Lagos was one of the first states that produced domestic laws within the state to protect those who have left. I also know, and I watched
domestic law within the state
to protect those who have finished as
public
governor.
office.
Yes.
But it did not expressly talk about pension scheme for them.
You see, when you say pension schemes, when you say take care of those who have left office, after they have left office, you see, the idea is that these guys have finished serving, go into retirement, leave the stage, and it's a payoff for them to leave the stage.
So it could have been a smart way of not imputing the word pension by Lagos State government.
Absolutely. And you see, I was impressed when Senator Benga Daniels, OGD of Ogun State, you mentioned Ogun State, when he came on set and he said, look, I don't know if they've even paid me any of these money since I left office, but now that I'm going to the Senate, I'm not entitled to it. He said, I'm not entitled. He didn't know.
Any of
he said.
That was what he said. I saw the video clip too.
But the point is.
And you would agree with me that video clip leaves much to be desired.
But the point is.
It should be taken with a pinch of salt.
But the point is. No, I don't.
You have an account details.
No.
If I pay money into your account details, you will know.
Look, these guys are big boys. Oh. They are earning money from all different kind of sources.
So then they will not know.
But the point is this.
Their source of income.
But the point is this. The State House of Assembly should have stood up immediately and said, look, all those who go on to other government employments, let's review the law. That's where you have a change and an evolving system. They don't just sit down and say, one day will be my turn. Me too, go enjoy. It's not good enough. I detest those who are collecting double salaries. I don't think it's right.
We will come to the recruitment process.
Especially in a system where we're asking everybody to. But you mentioned Akwa Ibom. The former governor is now the Senate president. He can't tell me and look me in the eye and say he's collecting an emolument and collecting a salary. It's not right. But it is the law.
Did he tell you when he sent prayers, so to say, to the telephone numbers of senators? Did he tell you? Did he look into your eyes then? And what happened eventually?
No, but they were entitled to that. Leave bonus. They were entitled to that.
I'm asking you against the background of saying he cannot look into your eye and tell you that he's taking emolument. How would you know?
No, but what I'm saying is the people of Akwa Ibom State to stand up and say, look, you are now the people of Akwa Ibom State.
Where are the people?
Should say, look,
you say this is the
Senate
issue
President,
we're having.
you are
Mr.
now
Kimoyo.
the Senate President.
Mr. Kimoyo.
You are collecting a salary. You are not entitled to that pension anymore.
Politically educated are the people you're talking about?
Who are the legislators in the state?
Where are they coming
from? Who elected them? From the people.
Where are they coming
representatives
from?
of the people.
That's why we're talking about the recruitment process. If you agree with me, gentlemen, recruitment process of leadership matters a lot in this discourse.
I don't want to go there. It has a lot to do about it. We are talking of these legislators. How do they emerge in the first instance? Are they not stooges of the governor? Are they not being handpicked on a daily basis? And when they are there, they will do the biddings of the governor. That is what we are having here.
Or the former governor.
It is the incumbent governor that will make that law, governor. And it is them that will enjoy it when leaving office.
Honorable Alabi.
Like I said, sorry sir, with due respect, I have never come across any law that mandates the state assembly to legislate on what to give to ex-political office holders if they have left that stage. I have not seen it.
No, they're all the states.
I am saying, and I'm very, very emphatic about it, that all the things that regulate the emoluments of political officers that has to be with revenue, mobilization, and physical commission.
When they are in office.
Yes, that is the point. So when they are there, they have specified what political office holders will earn.
Could this concept then be termed a political patronage or political solution?
That is exactly
to whatever it is that the term taken care of.
It's a settlement.
And even doing that one
is developing it.
Doing that one is as elevated politics above service.
Of course.
Politics ordinarily should be service to the people. And it will be for those people that have experience, that have other things doing. But nowadays, you see a fresh graduate, the next thing he wants to do is to go to politics. What experience is he bringing on board? That is the issue. And after leaving office, you need to go back to what you are doing before. I always discuss that, look, it is better we have those who have their jobs going into politics. If you are a lawyer, an accountant, after service, you go back and pick your work again.
You have second address.
That is it. But nowadays, when you elevate politics above service to the nation, then that is where this issue is now coming on board. After leaving office, how do I live?
Where is the place of this activism that many politicians used to have before they get into political offices? I give you just one or two examples. Let's take the example of Adams Oshiomhole, and then let's take the example of the former Cardinal State Governor. What were they looking at?
Which one?
Manam Nasir El-Rufai. You would agree with me that those are loud voices when it comes to advancing the cause of the common man, so to say. What were they looking at? They could not repel such law. They could not kick against such a provision of pension. They are reportedly or allegedly enjoying that now. Where is the place of the activism posture that many politicians take on before they get to political offices?
Well, let's be clear about certain things when we start identifying individuals. Adams Oshiomhole is a former governor, and before that, a former NLC president, and now he's senator. He's one out of 109 senators. I agree with you. We should hear his voice. Or he should come out openly and say, now that I'm a senator, I'm not entitled to anything that was legislated for me by my state. Example. Be that an example. It's good. El-Rufai is not in government. If he has left government, he's left the stage, and is entitled to something by law, I don't have a problem. But what I'm saying is, each of these state houses of assembly, and I take your point, Honorable Alabi, that they are stooges. I've contested House of Reps twice. I'm no stooge. I will say it the way it is. But you're right. People who have nothing to fall back to, yes, have to do the bidding. But are they doing the bidding of the current, not the former? And that is why I say we need to have people who stand up for what is right.
But also like to do that,
Who
so
stand
that
up for what
he
is
will
right.
soon become a former, and then such a thing will also work either for or against him. Are you two looking at it that way?
I don't. If and when I become, because I'm interested in becoming governor now, so that I can have an 8-year term in office with all the largesse that goes with it,
For service
and then
politics.
have a lifelong pension.
Oh, you are also eager to
I'm,
have
I'm,
that.
I'm very interested now.
So you support this life pension?
I don't
thing?
support it for one single second.
Or you just said so that you could have access to the largesse that come with the office.
Guess what? I grew up in the United Kingdom, where service is service, where you serve the people. And guess what? When you finish, you walk away and you go back to your house. Mm-hmm. You go back to your home. It's not a place where you become a billionaire, a millionaire, and celebrated by the people who you are supposed to serve. Mm. It's not like that. I had a clash with my MP in Finchley. I said, you've not done your job and you're not coming back to office. This was in 2009. I took him on and he had to listen to what I was saying. That's what service is about. And it's that orientation, but people like us do not win elections.
Now, because of our time, of course, we need to move on to the next issue. But how do we fix this problem? Who will build the cart? We've talked about recruitment process into leadership positions in Nigeria. But how about the docility, as it were, of the people themselves? How do we fix this problem?
That is where the civil society have to come in.
Are there any?
That is the issue. Since the death of Ganifa Wemi, of blessed memory, may God bless his soul, we have not had very good activists in this country. We're supposed to ask our leaders questions. It is when we start to ask these basic questions, when we start agitating, that the people in leadership can actually sit right and do what is right. But immediately somebody gets to an office, he believes above board, nobody will question him, and he will do things with impunity. That is the issue. So we must start by reorientation. Reorientation of our values, or what we're supposed to do as human beings. We need to do that one. Unless these questions start coming in, unless our youths are ready to stand up and ask questions, and so that we can sit down and put things in the right perspective,
but politicians,
we'll continue to have this
you politicians have been of doing your things. Let me quickly state this. You're talking about the people rising to
the occasion.
You're talking about reorientation and value reorientation, etc. But do you value reorientation on empty stomach? These are days when politicians have turned poverty to potent weapon for political reasons.
Yeah,
How do we get out of that?
That is why we take things with levity in this country. That is the problem we have. Imagine when fella sang those smiling and sovereign since that then, long time ago, and we are still playing the same. So if it's convenient for us, it will continue like this. But the earlier the people in the street start talking, the earlier we start telling ourselves the bitter truth that things should not be run this way, we'll continue to have the same problem.
Now, Mr. Akimoyo, let me come to you, starting the second leg of our conversation this morning. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, have issued a declaration that there will be a strike, nationwide strike for that matter, come Tuesday, that's next Tuesday. And many are of the view that, is it really necessary to go on strike because NLC president was attacked in Imo State, Joe Ajaero? Is it really necessary to call for nationwide strike? Some are asking, where was NLC when petrol rose from what it was to what it is now? Where has been NLC and TUC when even what it's supposed to be has even gone far beyond what it's supposed to be, even at the increased pump price? What's been the NLC's disposition to wage award has not even started to be implemented? Why go on strike? Because of Ajaero?
Good question. My one sentence answer to that is there's absolutely no necessity for labor, organized labor, to go on strike. That's one sentence that captures my full, undiluted opinion about the call for a strike. Let's break it down.
Okay,
the organized labor under the current leadership has become highly, not just politicized, but highly politicized. When a man does not identify that he is the national president of the Nigeria Labour Congress and feels that he's an Imo State indigene and takes particular issues, particular interest in an election that is 2 days ahead and tries to dramatize to the whole stage internationally, then we have a big problem. And we must understand that there are 36 states in Nigeria and the FCT, and there's an NLC for each of these. There's also a TUC for each of these. Now, the question is, one man was assaulted. I'm a lawyer, I'm a Christian, I'm a God-fearing person, and I abhor violence. This is a case of alleged criminality. Let law enforcement agents properly investigate. Bring those who are culpable before the law, prosecute, investigate, and prosecute, and punish. I underline the word punish. That is the major bane of Nigeria. Nobody gets punishment for their sins. Now the point is this: why should one man and his brutalization or alleged brutalization by we don't know who, because the police have said we took him into protective custody to save him from further damage. We don't know who is culpable yet. Investigation, prosecution, and punishment should follow. But why does that now warrant a national strike? It's absurd, because what it means is that if you come to my establishment and my union members feel that I've been brutalized, we call a strike. As we speak, as I was coming to the studio, I heard an announcement that there's a protest going on at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport in Abuja to prevent flights from going into Imo State, Owerri. That means that economic activity is being crippled. They're cutting off electricity, they're stopping fuel from going into the state. It's absurd. And that is people taking the laws into their hands. The Labour have gone far beyond what is required in terms of agitation. Trade unions are lobbyist groups. What you do is you lobby to get what you want from the government. There comes a time when industrial actions are important. But the protest this morning, was it organized? Was it orchestrated? Many people will cash in and turn it into a farce. And then Labour completely loses the plot.
So your point, therefore, it's not necessary.
Absolutely unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary.
Let's have the view of
by all ramifications
on this matter. Of course, he talked about politicization of the labor movement, and the response of an official of Imo State government was that Joe Ajaero is a member of the Labour Party. And that was a response to the alleged brutalization of the man. And many have also said that was a weak defense. Why was he brutalized is the issue. But beyond all of that, yes, there has been a case of brutality against someone, and like Mr. Akimura said, there should be a way to prosecute, investigate, prosecute, and punish.
Yes, absolutely.
So what then is the basis for industrial action? Not just in where you were brutalized, but across board.
Yeah.
Or is it a case of injury to one is injury to all?
Honestly speaking, there is no basis for it. Although the way the NSC president was treated is highly condemnable. It is unheard of. But the organized labor means it when they mingle active politics with their activism.
Active politics
yes,
with activism?
Yes, that is what is happening, and that is what is actually playing out. The timing of that protest leave much to be actually desired. That is where the state government was coming up in their defense of what really happened. The Labour Party has a candidate in that election. And so when there is protest, whenever there is protest against any government, is to bring that government down, is to create problem for that government, is to make that government unpopular. And the election is around the corner.
2 days.
So that is why those who actually are desired of winning that election will not just look by and see that one happen. So I think that was what really happened. It should have, the NSC president should have waited, allowed the election to go, and now come up with whatever program.
It brings us to what we were discussing the other time, Chief Alabi.
Yeah.
We're talking about respect for the rule of law, respect for court pronouncements.
Yeah.
It was gathered that the National Industrial Court had ordered that such process should not hold in the state. Shouldn't labor leaders have also complied with that order and let it slide?
That is where people read meaning into it, that it was more of politics than the government, the workers' affairs. That's what really happened. So calling a strike nationwide, I don't think is actually desirable. It is very wrong. I don't support it. But if there is measures taken to actually make those who perpetrated it to pay for the offense they have committed, all well and good. I support that. And I think what the NSC and the TUC did was to call the attention of government, one, to redeploy the commissioner of police in Imo State and bring those people to book, those who actually perpetrated that one. There are other ways of doing it than going to Ondo State that knows nothing about what happened and cripple our economy, like he said. The banks will not work. Our airports are being closed down, so it's quite unfortunate. I don't support that.
Well, before we close up, let's talk about what's going to happen this weekend. Governorship election, off-cycle elections will be going on in the states of Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa. INEC says it is ready. Security forces said they're also ready. As a matter of fact, about 29, if I get my figure right there, police commissioners have been deployed to Imo. A DIG is supervising the election, assisted by another AIG, and so on and so forth. The same is playing out in many other places. Now, the volatility of the political atmosphere in Kogi State is giving many concern. What do you think should be the preoccupation in the mind of the police inspector general, Egbetokun, in nipping into board any form of breaches that want to happen, especially in Kogi State, where mouths or tongues are wagging about insecurity during election there?
Thank you very much. It's not just the Inspector General of Police, but indeed every stakeholder and participant in each of these off-cycle elections in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo. Our electoral process has taken a battering, not so much by what I personally consider to be one of the freest and fairest elections that was conducted in February 2023. But that's my personal opinion. But we've taken a battering by the press, both at home and abroad, and by commentators. This is an opportunity for every stakeholder to play their role. The police should be neutral, non-partisan, and just ensure that there is peace. The electoral body should ensure that guidelines or no guidelines, principles or no principles, procedures or no principles, they guide the free, fair, and transparent conduct of an election. After all, what does it matter who wins? If you're a referee, if you are genuinely a referee, it doesn't matter. And the politicians, the players, I can tell you for nothing, every candidate in that election has already written a acceptance speech and a rejection speech, even as we speak. And they've already looked at the factors that they're going to put in to that speech, and the election has not taken place. That is the wrong mentality for going into a contest. 19 of us, 20 of us are contesting. Only one person can win. But why do we have this mentality of Nigerians that it has to be me, has to be me. If I don't win, I'm going to court. It's wrong. So the participants, the leaders of political parties, must educate their members and their candidates that, look, it's not a do or die. Fight's a good fight. Let's go to the field. If we win, we win. If we lose, we sit back. Just like Goodluck Jonathan did yesteryears.
Well,
so everyone has to play their role.
How well do you think this peace accord will be helping the situation, especially where we've always been having the issues of concern about violence and some other issues. I give you instances of the 3 states where these elections are to be held. Bielsa is not a pushback when it comes to politics. You know the issues that play out in that area. When you also look at the stake, especially with the way and manner candidates emerged, you know, there was court pronouncement banning a particular candidate of a party, and then an appeal court bringing him back, and so on and so forth. Go to Imo State, you find the candidates, governorship candidates walking out of the stakeholders meeting with INEC just yesterday, saying that it concerns the rec must be removed and so on and so forth. Come to Kogi, you hear a lot of violence already taking place in Kogi State. Now, what's the essence of the peace accord when people are not conducting themselves peacefully before, during, and after the election?
Yeah, the accord has a lot to do. But the problem I have is I'm really worried about the desperate way in which people seek political offices nowadays. That is what is raising all this tension here and there. Everybody wants to be there at the same time. And the position is just one. And that one calls to question the neutrality of our security agencies. If they are above board, if they are neutral, they will stem this thing easily. Who are talks, political talks? They only operate when they have the backing of security officers. That is the bitter truth.
That's your candid opinion?
Of course, I was once chairman of PDP in Ondo State.
What played out then?
I know what I'm saying. Just don't put words into my mouth.
I'm just asking
the bitter truth
because
is
you are speaking from experience.
Yes, I am. I am. The bitter truth is that if our security agencies are neutral, they will neutralize all these talks. But in a situation where they are not neutral and they are backing one of the contestants, they are the people that will embolden the talks to do what they are doing. There is no two way about it. So we need to enforce this neutrality even on INEC. If they see that INEC is neutral, is not giving undue advantage to one person or the other, then everybody will respect their opinion. You can imagine a lot of cases that have been decided reversing what INEC actually declared. So these are issues that are giving me problems and concerns on a daily basis. So we still have a long way to go. That is the bitter truth. We have a long way to go. And I challenge our security agencies that they should come on board. They should be firm. They should play the rules according to the game and make sure that those who are actually pushing this this crisis are pulled down.
Chief Ebenezer Labi has given us a practical insight into what it used to be.
That is what is has been. It is used and is being. That is of course
the case.
It is. That is
a lot we need to learn from your experience as former chairman of the PDP in Ondo State. But I like to know: is it a case of the M-men of political parties compromising security agencies? No, or is it that security agencies are willing tools in the hands of politicians?
It has always been that the head of government, not the head of political parties, they don't have that wherewithal to do it. But the head of government who hold security meetings, who give patronage to these security officers, there's no way they will not have a sympathy for them. And when election comes like that, there is, I don't need to say all those ones, but I can assure you that the heads of government have a way of reaching out, let me put it that way, to the security agencies from top to down. And by the time they do that one, they do their biddings. And that's what is creating problem.
Mr. Akimoye, let's have your view on that matter. I see you are gleaning a lot from the experience of Chief Alabi there.
I've contested elections twice.
Very well.
And on election day, I bring snacks, I bring refreshments, I give to the police, I give to my opponents.
Inducement, as it were?
I give to the police, I give to INEC, I give to my opponents, I give to my supporters.
Why did you need to do that?
Because on election day, movement is restricted.
Very well.
Everyone needs to be comfortable.
What was the motive?
In a peaceful atmosphere.
What was your motive?
Now, if I'm giving to my opponent, what's the motive? It's for all of us to be comfortable for that day. But guess what?
Okay.
I lost on both occasions. It doesn't matter. It's the process that is important. But you see, we have a predetermined and preconceived idea on how we should conduct our elections. And then that's where inducement comes in. I don't induce. I just make everyone comfortable. Because the final result, at the end of the day, I would love to win. But it doesn't really matter. And I still win. Because I'm cherished by my people. And it's our value system. And it's a value system in security agents, it's value system in INEC, it's value system amongst the electorate, it's value system amongst the politicians. It's not do or die. That's the truth. And if you want to actually represent people, let them love you and take you on board to go and represent them genuinely. But there's too much manipulation in our system. And you know our biggest problem? There's no punishment for manipulation. Until that comes, until there is punishment for manipulation, either direct or indirectly conceived, we will not change our system. And that comes from reorientation of our minds.
That's profound there. Now, are you worried about the trend that's going on in this administration, the current federal government? Now, let's go clearly on this matter. Femi Gbajabiamila was the Speaker of the House of Representatives, contested the election and won in this last election. Olumitsuji Ojo was a member of the House of Representatives, contested the election and won in this last election. Just to mention a few. These men have been appointed by President Bola Tinubu, and that would mean that elections will be conducted again to fill the vacancies that they would not be living. I give an instance too. The appeal court has now said Simon Lalong won the election. He's been made a minister. Now, do you understand? It's also that's another unplugging from the Tinubu cabinet. Now, they have to appoint another person. Why is it difficult to leave people who have been elected to where they've been elected and then appoint people? Are we saying there are no more people who could be appointed to be what those men were appointed to be? Why should we strain an already depressed economy to say, you know what it costs to conduct elections in this country? So, what's your view about this, gentlemen? I'd like to start from you, Mr. Akimoyo.
Well, I love football. I love politics. Ronaldo left Real Madrid, came back to Man United, left and is now in Saudi Arabia. Did they not replace him? His skill was required elsewhere. There's no problem in that.
But there was no election conducted for him.
If a man has a skill and the president feels I can use his potentials, his attributes for the furtherance of our nation, a higher calling, take him away. Let the blessings go. It means that we have to go through the rigmarole of having another election. But in the whole, that must be beneficial if indeed it was a value judgment by Mr. President to pluck that person out, take him and make him a minister, or make him chief of staff. So indeed, I think it's healthy. Okay. But those in the constituency should now ensure that they don't play the same game. It was PDP. Etu saw another PDP. No, let's get value added to the system and choose another good, capable hand to replace who has been plucked out.
Let's have your view, before we place a wrap.
Well, thank you very much. The buck will always stop at the desk of the president.
Of course.
And after being elected, he has to scout around and pick the best hands that will actually make him to deliver. So if he finds such hands in the National Assembly, there's nothing stopping him from doing that one. And it depends on the value we get at the end of the day. For example, look at what the minister from Ondo State, Minister for Internal Affairs is doing. You see how he cleared the backlog of national passport, all this one. So it's actually working, and people feel that one. I'm not in his party, but the guy is doing well. Everybody is applauding him. So if you have hands like that, instead of having somebody that will not perform such a thing, why can't we go for it? So There's no law that is being broken.
Gentlemen, I have to thank you so much for sharing your views with me on the program today. It's been an engaging engagement, taking closer look at those critical issues having to do with the development of the Nigerian state. Honestly speaking, I wish you could go on and on, especially when you also look at certain other issues in the affairs of the Nigerian state. The supplementary budget of the year 2023 has also been assented to by the president. That will be the second supplementary that we'll be having in this regard. But to what extent will it be having impact on the people? That's another concern, if you agree with me.
So late in the day.
So late in the day, you say. But would it still not have impact on
it
what?
It will. We have a performer, so it will.
He
knows why he wanted. He knows why he wanted the money.
Where exactly are you
He
talking
will put Mr. President.
Oh, okay.
He knows why he wanted the money. He's going to put it to good use.
Maybe
We'll feel the impact.
Maybe the irony part of it is that most of this money has been spent already. So the budget is just coming up to cover all these things. For example, look at this issue of yams we are talking about. They said the things has already arrived here, so we have no choice than to pay for it. So most of these things, I'm not disputing.
What you've not appropriated now.
No, they have been doing that one, and that is why they will now come up with the other budget with this and just to cover up, because it's illegal for you to spend what has not been actually budgeted for. So, but in order to cover up so that they will not run foul of the law, they do all these things at 9 minutes.
Okay, you don't agree with the word cover
not cover
They do it at this 9 minutes to just make sure everything.
The books ought to balance, but you should ask before you spend.
You should ask before you spend.
And I believe that he has asked so that he can spend.
So that he can spend, or so as not to run foul of what has been spent. Which one?
So he can spend it before the end of the year. Yes, absolutely. Now, he's an accountant.
Oh, really?
Mr. President.
Oh, of course. I wish we could go on and on, gentlemen. Some of our senators and lawmakers said our roads are terrible. Our roads are bad, so they need such big vehicles to be able to maneuver our roads.
I don't agree. Bottom line, I don't agree. I don't agree. What they're asking for is far well above what is required to do the job. It's outrageous. Not at the time like this.
And let me tell you another fact. You see, there is provision for car loan for political officers, BU, senator, reps. And when you buy such vehicle, the expectation is that you'll be using it in the course of doing your assignment. And there is provision for maintenance allowance. So when you get car loan, they pay you maintenance allowance to maintain it to run. But our lawmakers now will hide under this utility or oversight to demand for this bogus vehicle. I was listening one day, asking, he said, I have such a vehicle myself, you don't expect me to write something less. You can imagine that one coming from our senator. So that is wrong. He said the road is not good, they need such a car. What of the other millions of Nigeria? Do they now stay at home and not move at all? Because the road, because they cannot afford to buy such jeep to move around. So it's quite unfortunate.
But did you notice that the legislators, Senate, have not politicized the SUV issue? All of them are singing the same tune. We need the SUV. Jokers them. Because they don't need the SUVs.
It's the largesse of the office.
No, it's wrong.
And they will go away with it at the end of the year.
It's wrong.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Mr. Akimoyo, thank you so much for your time on the program.
Pleasure once again.
Chief Ebenezer Alavi, it's been a very jolly ride with you.
Thank you very much. I don't know why people just give me this chieftaincy title. I'm not a chief. I just have to say, I'm just Ebenezer Alavi.
Okay. It's good to have you on the program. Thank you so much. Everyone, it's been a wonderful time riding with you on this smooth sail of State of the State this week. It returns next week, God willing, where we'll be taking a closer look at some other issues cropping up in the affairs of the Nigerian state. I am Sonny Kolawole. Please enjoy the rest of the day.